Peace and blessings to all of your children on this Where is the Love Wednesday. I pray this finds you well, health-wise, spiritual-wise, and mentally. Those are the three fronts that we exist on, even though a lot of us just deal with the skin that we're in. I'm here to bear witness. We're a whole lot more than the skin that we're in. But what I want to speak to you about today, under the theme of Where is the Love, this word Babel, Babylon, simply put, it means confusion. In Scripture, you see it, chapter 10 of Genesis through 11. It starts with one of Noah's sons by the name of Cush. Okay. Cush had a son named Nimrod. Now, got to stop right there. Most of your various King James, all those different versions, don't give you a whole lot of information about Nimrod. You have to go a little bit deeper into some of the supplemental texts, like in the Hebrew tradition, on the Kabbalah, the Midrash, the Mishnah, or some of these more in depth. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of theologians, or however you want to refer to them, authorities on Scripture. They can speak of other things, but the point I'm trying to get across upon you is, I will essentially be opening up the Scriptures in Genesis 10:11 concerning, as I said, Cush, Nimrod, into a place called Shinar, where it started at, and where the Tower of Babel, was they got this notion, hey, we're going to build us our tower and we're going to get up there. Well, number one, this does not respect the physical limitations of pursuing such a spiritual upliftment. That's not the way it's done. If you don't get nothing else out of it. From this experience, as you know, they were speaking all one language. And when you're speaking all one language, what's understood really don't need no explaining. I mean, it was just like we was moving intuitively. And when you move intuitively, you are using creative intelligence. So they say, okay, we got, let's go and do this thing here. Which, the story. In the Scriptures says God looked down and said, oh, no, let's confuse them. No, let's break them up. Let's get them to speak all different languages. Babel. Today we say babbling idiots. Or what's wrong with them over there? He on some kind of drug? Yeah, he's just over there babbling. Ain't nobody making no sense, just rattling on. I'm pretty sure a lot of people gonna view this, old dude on again, man, babbling, rattling, Well, what it is, with an individual, of course that's what it is. But what about that group of people whose comprehension, and I'm not on here to try to demean anybody or put nobody down, but let's face it, everybody is not on the same learning curve. So there are things that I heard 40 years ago. I said, that's ridiculous, that's preposterous. Well, in due course of time, as I grew, and I'm continuing to grow, to God be the glory, I came to understand what was meant by a particular thing. I sat under elders, people of great wisdom, people I call now mentors. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've always followed where they was coming from. One of my great teachers one day walked up to me and gave me an acorn. Walked away and said, no. Gave me an acorn. So I saw him sometime later, I don't know, it was days, maybe a week or so. And he said, what you doing my oak tree? I said, oak tree? He said, I gave you an oak tree. I said, man, hey, what you on today, bro? No, I gave you. You remember the acorn? I said, that's an acorn. He said, but an acorn is the seed of an oak tree, a mighty oak. And he walked away. And I'm looking at him like, what's that got to do with the price of eggs in Egypt? We here, dealing with, But he was leading me. He was trying to prompt me to have a vision or have a more comprehensive, understanding of what he was saying or overstanding. But great teachers, or let me say, intelligence is already in us. It just takes certain things to awaken it. In the Hebrew tradition, they call it raising sparks. See, when you come in the presence of various teachers, they are trying to take a spark and keep raising it until they catch a fire. And once you catch a fire, then you start experiencing the workings and the tools of creative intelligence. Now let's get back to this word Babel. Babel is confusion. Babylon. Now when we say this, see, we got this tendency of saying, oh, that was way back there. That ain't relevant to now. But it is relevant right now. One of the major things that's keeping us from connecting in our communication, that communication and connecting is something different. You notice, and in a tradition, when somebody comes into this earth, you don't talk about Christ, you can talk about Christ. You can talk about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. You can talk about the Buddha, any one of them. There's always a group of people that's worried about one man telling people whose or who they are. I don't care where you go. You research, read wherever you want to. Talk about Malcolm, talk about Martin Luther King. You can take it anywhere you want to. In the 60s, they had many radical groups. Everybody was mad as hell. They had students, SNCC, you had different organizations. And J. Edgar Hoover, he got concerned. That was the guy running the FBI. He said, look, we got to come up with a program. Like in scripture when Pharaoh said, we got to watch these people here now. They may do something wise here. They may become wise. See, something a lot of people don't get, a lot of so-called authorities have a vested interest in keeping you dumbed down. They don't want you to come in. Yeah, they got all the pageantry, they got all the showboating and this and that. But when it comes down to it, they want to keep everybody, now it ain't just black folk, everybody in some form of slavery. Just that simple. Whether it be mental slavery, that's why Bob said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. On ourselves can free our minds. Because of this prevalent confusion. I'm not going to get into it. All y'all know in your hearts right now. Everybody that's under the sound of my voice is confronted with a cloud of confusion. See, hindsight, looking behind you, is always 20/20 vision. Going ahead, you riding into a densely fogged area much of the time because we have not been taught right. People who don't treat you right will not teach you right. Rasta Far Right. So look, you hear the Rasta man say Babylon, Babylon. No, we ain't talking about the gardens of Babylon and none of this right here, none of this physical makeup. Understand something. Rasta's deal in reality. See, you can't get pretty much past the appearance. Oh, here he come. Oh, he talking all batwabba bumba Rasta. See, you can't get past that. And see, all that's by design. If you stop with my outer appearance, how you gonna know my heart? See, we are compelling you to feel our vibration. See, all this right here ain't nothing but a bag of bones that go back to the dust. The eternal nature, our souls, we're trying to get up in there. So see, we are constantly going inside of ourselves. Armageddon, the great jihad, starts, it's in here. It ain't out here nowhere. We are at war with ourselves. Jacob, when he wrestled with the man of God, he was really wrestling with his divine self. That was a individual that was put in that drama. And he wrestled with him, like, give me your name. Finally, through perseverance and tenacity, the man of God said, what you want, man? I mean, I'm going to give you. Your name ain't Jacob no more. Your name now is Israel. But what did he do? He touched his hip. So when Israel left, he had a limp. In other words, that's telling you, when you come into this life, you're going to get beat down. You might get a limp or something else. But you got to keep getting up. That is life. We all going to be confronted with things that's outside of our scope of reason or understanding. So what I'm saying here is, it's not the persons or people that come into you. It's those things what keeps you dense, what keeps you doubtful, what keeps you losing your self-confidence. That's what a spiritual warrior is looking for. It ain't how long your lashes is or what you toting behind you or it ain't none of that. All that's going back to the dust. I pray something in this speech this morning clears your mind a little bit and makes you better and not bitter. Peace and blessings to all of God's children. This is what love's at. Jah love protects us.